Everybody ready on this side?
Yep.
All right. I call to order the Newman City Council regular meeting, March 22nd, 2022, City Council Chamber, 7 p.m., 938 Fresno Street. Can everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain stand for the invocation? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gracious God, we thank you for this opportunity to call your people for a meeting. We thank you for each and every one who is here today. You have blessed us with supportive people who seek the welfare of the people of this city, school, and businesses. Loving Father, we thank you most of all for being here in our midst. Let your presence be made known and lead this meeting today. Thank you, Father, for we know that you are always in support for your people. We give you thanks and praise. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Laroy. Item number 4, roll call.
Councilmember McDonald,
Here.
Ball,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Candea,
Here.
Councilmember Pimentel,
Present.
Mayor Graham.
Number 5, declarations of conflicts of interest. Any? All right, not seeing any. Item 6, ceremonial matters. There are none tonight. Item number 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. My name is Carrie Thompson. I live at 737 Black Mountain Lane, and I'm here this evening to talk to you about the Newman Historical Society. The Newman Historical Society would like to share our plans to finish developing and renovating the outdoor farm exhibit area, an open-air museum space currently installed with farm machinery related to Simon Newman, located in the lot behind the Newman Museum building on the corner of Main Street and Kern. I've distributed samples of the plans to each of you. As you can see, the plans include installing landscape edging and decomposed granite for walking paths and pedestrian areas around the exhibits. The existing gravel and rock would be relocated to the west side of the museum building to facilitate drainage, upon which half barrels with drip irrigation will be placed for the Newman Historical Society Legacy Roses. In the center of the outdoor area is a planned gazebo with cement pad large enough for member meetings and other activities. An added cut-in for ADA access from the existing ground floor ADA museum entrance walkway would allow direct access instead of walking down the street to the double gate. This improvement alone would increase the use of the outdoor museum area. 2 large potted ornamental trees on each side of the large Kern Street gate would beautify that public entrance. These plans have been in the minds of our members for quite a while, and the committee feels the time is right to move forward with such a big project. We have been discussing our plans with Catherine, the Director of Public Works, and are hopeful that the City of Newman will find ways to collaborate on this project as we serve a mutual need. The Newman Historical Society voted unanimously to approve the project, and we are in the process of moving forward with our upgrade. We look forward to when it can be enjoyed by the members of the Newman Historical Society and the visiting public at large. Any assistance or guidance the city can provide would be warmly received. And I'm available for any questions or comments you may have.
Any questions?
I have a comment. I would like to say, I think this is very exciting that you're moving on this, because the city of Newman is growing, and as we have visitors that come to town, maybe wanting to know the history of Newman. And I think this will be a great part in terms of the growth of Newman, that we have historical landmarks like this. So I thank you for that service.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else? I like the plan, and I appreciate your guys' effort on it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? seeing any others, we'll move on to item number 8, consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes and of the March 8th, 2022 meeting.
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second. We'll be voting on the new little things that we have here. So we have a first and a second. Go and vote. Stand by while we test our. New computer system. All right, motion carries 5-0. We got a little feedback. Item number 9, A, second reading and adoption of ordinance 2022, next to number, an ordinance amending Title 10, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 10.04.030, establishing parking restrictions of semi-trucks and trailers within the city limits and authorizing staff to publish summary of said ordinance. Sergeant, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council members. Before you is the proposed amendment, as you mentioned, to the existing city ordinance 10.04.030 of the Newman Municipal Code. It is recommended that the City Council conduct a public hearing and adopt ordinance number 2022, amending Title 10, Traffic Regulations, Section 10.04.030, parking of certain size vehicles, to establish parking restrictions of semi-trucks and trailers within city limits, and direct staff to publish a summary of said ordinance. This ordinance was introduced at the March 8th City Council meeting, where the council waived the first reading except by title. So over the course of several weeks, when I was given this project, there are several streets within the city of Newman, as I mentioned previously, where semi-truck and trailer parking is currently allowed. Over the course of several weeks at various times of the day, I counted the number of trucks and trailers that were present in those areas. It averaged to be about 23 at the time. We get complaints, whether they're called in by the public or whether anybody who has social media, if you follow any of the neighborhood watch pages, I've seen complaints on there about obstructed views caused by the truck parking. Personally speaking, when I'm traveling south on Eucalyptus while I'm on patrol, if I'm approaching Merced Street and I'm looking to the east, there's been several times where you just can't see. And the dip in the roadway causes, you have to creep out, but you can't really get momentum going, and, accidents happen. And we want to avoid those and protect the public. We also not only have issues with the traffic hazards, but we've had issues of illegal washing, which is causing grease to go down the storm drains. We've had diesel spills. It's costing the city money for cleanup. And there have also been, over my almost 11 years now, several times where I've gotten calls in the middle of the night of semi-trucks not parking where they're supposed to be. They've been parking on Upper Road. Truck drivers, sometimes they get home or they leave very early in the morning, or they're arriving very early in the morning, or they're arriving or leaving very late at nighttime, and the sound is disturbing to the neighbors. The refrigeration trucks that have to run continuously is disturbing to the neighbors and such. If you were to amend this section, and it's suggested that you post signage in the area where it's currently permitted, to advise people of the changes. And it's estimated that would cost about $5,100 for the signs, the fasteners, the poles. It does not take into consideration, again, the cost of public works for the labor. And as I mentioned previously, we would be spending time letting the public know about the current changes, working with them to let them know about the options available to them, which there are lots within town that I looked into that do rent out space, and it was $100 per month at the time. With that said, staff recommends City Council adopt ordinance number 2022, amending Title 10, Traffic Regulations, Section 10.04.030, parking of certain size vehicles, to establish parking restrictions of semi-trucks and trailers within city limits, and direct staff to publish a summary of said ordinance. And with that, I will answer any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for Sergeant? No. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
I'll bring it back to the council for action.
Mayor, public hearing.
Oh, sorry. Public hearing. Open up to the public. Thank you.
Hi, Paul Watson. I rise to speak in opposition to making this change. Before, when there was a complete different set of faces here, I came to town to do business in town, and I ran into a brick wall. I was told that, it wasn't going to be suitable, and I wound up spending several months fighting City Hall. And that's kind of where we're sending, it sounds like 22, 23 families are now going to be fighting City Hall to figure out what to do with their business. I really have two parts of my argument. The first one is the atickedosis. I totally understand that there are rules and regulations. You can't wash things because things go. But unfortunately, that we're going to have to write tickets for that. The second one I want to get to is just to speak against the idea of limiting private businesses this way. The city's supposed to support law-abiding citizens as they go about, trying to live their lives. $1,200 a year is significant. I sit on the school board, and 80% of our families are sending kids for free and reduced lunch. I think $1,200 a year is a significant cost to somebody that's trying to make a living on a truck with $6 diesel. Removing the legal option, I think the other way to put that is, now it's the same if you park at home as if you park at the designated places which are proximate to our industrial area. Might as well drive home. If you get a ticket once or twice a year, that's still probably going to be cheaper than $1,200 to park your truck every month. And finally, spending $5,000 or $6,000 to hassle local truck owners, to hassle local business people. I think that the idea of having designated places, if we need to shuffle where those places are, I noticed that one of them is right into, there's like a block that's allowed within a residential area or something. But most of these, I run past these trucks on, when I'm coming downtown. This is on the borders to our industrial section of town. And I really urge you to, I speak as somebody who spent several years as in our local chamber of commerce, trying to figure out how we get a business started in this town. Because, Little League teams need somebody to step up and sponsor. Well, these are businesses. And, there's not a lot. There's quite a few big businesses out there that started as a guy in a truck. So I urge you to think about being a place that supports business instead of a place that prefers to push business to someplace else. So thank you very much for hearing my concerns.
Anybody else? With that, I'll bring it back to council.
Would it be appropriate for me to make a comment at this time?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so after the last reading 2 weeks ago, I did drive down, what is the street on the other side of 33? That would be
M.
M? Okay. I did take a drive down there to see what the impacts were of the trucks in our community. It was a real eyesore. There was a lot of oil, a lot of damage, and I'm not saying it's from the trucks. But it was an eyesore. And one of the things that I'm concerned about in this city is eliminating our eyesores, but without putting people out of business, like you say. I can't definitively say that the trucking business is doing really, really well right now. I can only listen to the news. It sounds like it's doing well. And it seemed to me like $100 a month to park your truck somewhere appropriately in a designated site is not too much to ask to eliminate the eyesore. So thank you for your comments, but I will be supporting the ordinance.
And I'd like to say too that it's people like yourself, Paul, that make our city run. It's business people like yourself that we appreciate. But in saying that, I think that we have to have some guidelines. And I'm pretty sure, in your heart, you're saying $100 is nothing for some of these truckers to pay. I'm afraid if we don't have some type of guidelines or something that will protect us as a city, that we're going to have outsiders invading us here in the city of Newman. I think that a lot of the trucks, and even like a church member of mine, he drives a truck, and he used to park his truck close to his home until they put him on notice that you can't be parking your truck here. It's a diesel, a semi. And so in saying that, I think that I will be supportive of this ordinance too, in terms of making sure that we have control, full control of these trucks where they're parking. And some of them, I'm pretty sure you've seen where they shouldn't be parking because it's a hazard, in terms of even the kids going to school. So in saying that, me too, I'm going to support this measure too. And it's not, that I don't think that we need these truck drivers because they're keeping money within our city. And that's important, So in saying that, I'm hoping that we can come up with a solution that's going to be able to benefit the city as a whole with the truck drivers.
I've got a comment. I retired from this industry, so I know exactly what a nuisance it can be. That's why most trucking companies have a yard where you can park. And it shouldn't be parked on the city streets because a diesel spill is considered hazardous material, and the oil that it drips on the ground is also considered hazardous material. So I support this 100%.
All right. I'll bring it back to council for action.
It's all right, don't rush.
Okay, I move to approve the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2021, an ordinance amending Title 10, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 10-04-030 to establish parking restrictions of semi-trucks and trailers within city limits and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
And I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. Go ahead and vote. Motion carries 5-0. And thank you for your comments, Paul. We appreciate it. Item number 9B, adopt resolution 2022, next number, declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 281, mistletoe abatement.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome.
The item before you is declaring the existence of a public nuisance under the ordinance number 281, mistletoe abatement. Every year we do a survey when the leaves are off the trees, city trees and privately owned trees within the city limits of Newman. And we identify trees that are infected with mistletoe. Mistletoe is a parasite on trees, and they'll kill the tree, and then they can cause property damage when limbs fail. It's unsightly and not good for the trees, and so we survey it. We require people to remove it. So we, in February, we did the survey. We sent out notices to 54 properties, and the notice informed the property owners that they do have mistletoe in one of their trees. We work with them to identify which tree if they don't know what it is, and a lot of them remove it. Some want the city to remove it, so they just leave it, and then we proceed to the next step, which is we do another survey, and on March 9th this year, we counted 21 properties remaining that were infested with mistletoe. So at that point, we send out a public hearing notice and a cost. We get 2 different quotes from local landscapers to remove the mistletoe, and we send a public hearing notice with a cost of removing it. There's an administrative fee as well as the cost to the contractor to remove it. The final list includes 1617 Sandy Creek Drive, 2044 Carlsbad Cavern Court, 1536 Sandy Creek Drive, 1930 Pine Street, 1936 Pine Street, 1923 Pine Street, 1956 T Street, 1625 Blue Spruce Way, 1618 Blue Spruce Way, 1151 T Street, 597 Real Court, 889 Main Street, 1523 Brookhaven Drive, 1367 Mergonser Court, 1335 Red Tail Drive. They will be sent a bill. We'll remove the mistletoe, and then we'll send them a bill. And then a lot of them have already said, you know, you guys take care of it because we get a discount with bulk projects. And so sometimes it's cheaper than them calling out a contractor. So we'll have it. This is a public hearing in case any residents want to come dispute it or let us know that they remove the mistletoe or something like that. So I ask that you conduct a public hearing on this and then consider a motion to abate the mistletoe.
I'll open
Do
up.
you have a sample photo?
Yes, I do.
I'll open it up to the public for any comment. Not seeing any. I'll go ahead and bring it back to council.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution number 2022, next to number, declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 281, mistletoe abatement.
I'll second it.
First and second, go ahead and vote. Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 10, regular business. First reading and introduction of ordinance 20, next to number 2022, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newman amending Chapter 8.01, Garbage and Rubbish of Title 8, Health and Sanitation of the Newman Municipal Code to regulate the disposal of recyclable and organic materials.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one as well. In September of 2016, Governor Brown signed into law Senate Bill 1383, establishing methane emissions reduction targets in a statewide effort to reduce emissions of short-lived climate pollutants in various sectors of California's economy. Methane emissions result from the decomposition of organic waste in landfills and are a source of greenhouse gas emissions. SB 1383 directs the Department of Resources, Recycling and Recovery, CalRecycle, to adopt regulations and requirements to achieve statewide goals. These goals include achieving a 75% reduction in statewide disposal of organic waste by 2025 and a recovery of 20% or more of currently disposed edible food, directing it towards human consumption. To meet the statewide goals, the goals of SB 1383 and the January 1st, 2022 compliance implementation deadline, CalRecycle has established numerous organic waste disposal program requirements impacting the municipal jurisdictions, generators, processors, and haulers of organic waste. Compliance with SB 1383 requires the City of Newman to update its solid waste disposal regulations to set protocols and enforce for self-hauling requirements for waivers and inspection and enforcement protocol for organic waste collection services. What this means is the city is required by CalRecycle to implement an organic waste collection effort, which will include food scraps, food soiled paper containers and paper plates, napkins and paper towels, branch prunings and wood, grass clippings and leaves. And this will result in everyone getting a third can. We'll have a black can, a green can, and a blue can. Recycling, garbage, and organics. The city is currently in negotiation with a hauler to implement a third can, because right now residents have two. And so we're working with our hauler to implement a third can. This is required, and it is required to adopt an ordinance for an enforcement mechanism. And so we bring this before you and hope you'll consider introducing by title and waive the first reading of ordinance 2022 amending Chapter 8.01, the garbage and rubbish of Title 8, Health and Sanitation of the Newman Municipal Code to regulate the disposal of recyclable and organic materials. And I can take any questions.
Do we have a fiscal impact to citizens on this yet?
We don't have an actual number yet, but we are in negotiations with the hauler to determine what the rate increase will be. There will be a rate increase because they'll have to pick up a whole nother route.
Yeah, many municipals in the valley here fought against this, against the state, and tried to petition them not to push it through. And we lost that battle, so the state is forcing more money to be spent.
I kind of agree with Case is saying, because like, I think I mentioned this before, is that we have quite a few seniors in this town. And sometimes when we look at our budgets and different costs that's going to affect the city, I think we ought to keep in mind that we have quite a few senior citizens that are fixed income people, that we ought to consider them. And I think I might have brought this up to Michael in terms of, is there a program that they can be exempt as a senior? And then, and I say that to say this, is that I'm gonna have the garbage, but my wife takes all of our stuff and put it in the compost, even the paper plates that she uses in her garden.
I think those answers are gonna be coming in the future as all these agencies start implementing this requirement. And we don't have an answer for that yet. There's a lot of different issues. And the regulation, besides just us having a third can, it requires, finding food that organizations are throwing away and trying to find somebody to feed it to. And so there's a lot of different components to this regulation. And we already have organic recycling for commercial. That came into law a couple years ago. And so any commercial that produces over a certain amount, 4 yards of organic waste, they already have to have an organic waste can. And so now it's time where they've required residents to do it as well. I did have a booth at the farmer's market, and residents were receptive to it. And I told them it's going to be a rate increase. I don't want to fool anyone that there's not going to be a rate increase. But most people that I talked to were excited about having a green waste can that they could put their grass clippings and leaves in every month. They don't have to put it out on the curb all the time. So there was 80% positivity to it, and I don't know if those were more affluent residents that aren't going to mind the rate increase. So.
Will there be sizes, like a medium, small, and stuff like that?
That is being negotiated.
Councilmember, in all likelihood, what we're probably anticipating is about a $10 to $11 a month increase for an additional can. There'll be one size, 90 gallons. Everybody will get one. Again, everyone needs to understand this is a directive from the Sacramento. This isn't a local initiative. This is a directive from the state of California. So it's an unfunded mandate that's just passed on to us. So we're implementing it. As Catherine indicated, there is some support in the community for a third can. A lot of people want to get their lawn clippings and all that into a separate can. So that'll be it. We anticipate at this point in time that the program will go live probably around July 1st. And you probably see the proposed rate increase next month. So, but at this point, I'm going to tell you, I'm comfortable telling you it's going to be between $10 and $11 a month. It'll be one can, weekly service, and it'll be on the day that you put out your trash can. So you do your trash and your green waste will both be picked up on the same day. And then your recyclables will still remain on its current schedule on every other week.
So no matter how we vote, it's still going to go through, correct?
Yeah, this is just on an ordinance that the city has to put in place.
I got you.
All the
This
state
ordinance
guidelines.
really focuses on the enforcement actions that go along with it. Again,
I don't like
you don't want, we don't want to put the the city and the community at risk of being fined by the state of California for not participating with this. And that's ultimately what's happened is they
yeah.
come in and fine you
Right.
until you take care of it.
I could see larger families, but like 2 people in a household, I mean, they don't even fill their garbage cans up all the way. I mean, I have the 30-gallon and I don't even fill up my garbage to full every week. I mean, I've only got 2-3 bags a week.
John, I'm
I get it, but I'm just,
State, it's state.
I don't have much room on the side of my yard. That could be a problem for a lot of people too that has their stuff, because you have to have them all put away.
Right.
Or you're gonna get a ticket. So, all right. Okay, I'm done.
You drive home a good point, though, John, excuse me, but you make a good point with that. Very good point.
Yeah, I'm going to go and open this public. You want to go? Can you pick? Oh, that's fine.
Garbage can that we're using now for grass clippings and this green waste that we're gonna use, what are we gonna use the garbage can that we're using now for?
Let me
Non-compostable,
get my handy
right?
dandy sheet. So the trash will be broken items like broken glass and dishes, diapers and pet waste, items not recyclable such as styrofoam, oleander and palm fronds, those are not going into the green waste. So organic waste, this has to go to an organic recycling facility. And so that's why it has to be separated, because it's too burdensome for the hauler to try to separate out everything from one can. So this is what Cal Recycle says that we need to do a third can so we can separate out the organics. And so it can go to a composting facility. The ordinance is quite robust in what we have to do once we convert it to compost. We will be bringing it back and giving it to the residents, so.
They're
be a
green.
full circle.
They're green recycling, but they added a full dump truck route to every city.
Yeah, so it'll be 4-day, we have 4-day-a-week service here that are dealing with trash, and so
So what's the what's the environmental impact on that? And they're trying to save it on this. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but
So do we
That's a
have to
different story.
put those trash cans out?
yeah, we're going to have to. This is a state law.
Okay, but what I'm
Senate
saying,
bill.
if I don't have anything in that trash can,
No.
So if I were to vote no, is it a no against the city
No.
ordinance? Or is it a message to the state?
this
I
is-
would prefer it
this is
be a
a-
message to the state.
This is a city ordinance that falls
Okay.
in lines with the guidelines of state of California, so we have to follow it. This is just putting the guidelines in place to follow California state law. We have no say in it at all.
So we're eating it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Catherine,
Come
question.
up to the podium and state your question, please, and I'll be happy to answer.
so if we vote no, say for instance, the whole council voted no, what position that put you in?
We can be fined by the state.
well, it'll be in a position where when the state finally finds out about it and starts sending me letters and threatening us that if we don't do something, they're gonna fine us, then I would come back to you and say, okay,
We have to comply. Our
we're
hands
being
are-
threatened now, and then what do you guys wanna do?
Yep.
Curious, in your negotiations with the hauler, have you considered a smaller size? I mean, right now I have, and I think the councilman mentioned that we have the smaller size garbage can now. Could we have an even smaller garbage can, since I won't be putting my grass clippings and lawn prunings in it?
Yeah, in our negotiations, we've brought that up, and that's still an item that we're negotiating, what size of the cans are gonna be, but they won't be of the size that you may see in a municipality like San Jose, where they're real small, because they already have certain trucks that won't pick up that size canister, so you have to at least reduce it down. Now, we do have 60-gallon trash cans that we currently have that are available. So we're having some negotiations on that right now.
All right.
Catherine, question. Will the city be sending out something to all the residents, letting them know what's compostable, what's not compostable, or whatever you want to call it?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm going to be starting outreach to the public, like farmers markets, there'll be an article in the newspaper. I talked to the reporter there, and we're gonna sit down and kind of go over this when we have it more cemented in. I do have a sheet that's probably gonna go out in the bill next month, just to warn people, hey, this is coming. This identifies everything that needs to be in each different type of can. And yes, we'll be educating the public.
I mean, to be honest, up till now, I've been throwing my grass clippings and everything else in the regular can.
Right.
It should be separated, just like you're saying. So I get it. It's, I may not agree with it, but I get it.
We've already done a little bit of outreach and advertisements in the paper, so.
Is it possible that maybe families could get together and have one container, 4 families and have one container well, you'd have to leave it outside. But I'm just trying to cut down the cost I live in a court and I know I could get someone to say, yeah, well, we could do this, but you'd have to have it locked up behind a fence. Forget it. Forget it. I'm just trying to cut down the costs a little bit.
Can we get this put on our webpage and social media too, that flyer?
Oh,
that's
yeah, there's no doubt.
coming out?
I mean, it'll be once this is implemented and we have all the details, there'll be a full-fledged educational outreach program that goes along with it.
All right. So with that, we must take action, so I'll bring it back to the council for action.
I'll make a motion, we approve the first reading and introduction of ordinance number 2022, next to number. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newman amending Chapter 8.01 Garbage and Rubbish of Title 8 Health and Sanitation of the Newman Municipal Code to regulate the disposal of recyclable and organic materials.
We have first, second,
A second.
first and second. Go and vote. Motion carries 3-2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kath.
Item 11, items from District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor. He's not here
Yeah,
tonight.
he sends his condolences, he wasn't able to make it today.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Supervisor was not able to make it
Yeah.
today.
I don't see him. Item 12, items from City Manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to update you on a few things. The big item that we've been talking about recently, or in my city manager reports, is the property tax item. And I know that has now worked its way all up to the legal team. So we set a framework for the legal team to put it together into a document. It's the goal of the group is to, again, to have that done by this fiscal year, the end of this fiscal year, so we can implement it next year. Again, property tax is a pretty convoluted issue in California. So if you need me to walk you through it, I know Councilmember Pimentel had his eyes open when we did our little sit down in terms of what property tax actually does. And I think what most people are going to don't understand is the city of Newman, we get 10 cents on the dollar for every property tax you pay. So if you have a $2,000 property tax bill, the city's going to get $200 to provide you police, fire, recreational, administrative services on there. So hopefully with this new agreement, we will get a bigger share, and that share will come from Stanislaus County, who is working with us to share a portion of their property tax back to us. So we talked a while back about the Veterans Memorial. So we received a proposal back, so I talked to the mayor already, but I'd also like to schedule time with Councilmember McDonald and Councilmember Ball again and just kind of go over that with you, make sure that we're meeting your expectations, and then we'll bring it back to the full council for a vote on that one. So just, if you guys would, just when you're done, we can do it today or when you get back, just send me what your schedule looks like the rest of this week and next week, and then we'll get something scheduled to sit down. I only need probably 15, 20 minutes. The Matos Ranch project is 106 lots on Prince Road, immediately south of the Rolling Hills multifamily project. You will see dirt starting to get pushed around out there right around April 5th. So that project is moving forward. There's a group called LGI Homes out of Sacramento, I believe they are, who has bought that project, and they're moving forward, getting everything, all the fees and bonds and everything getting paid up. So we'll see an agreement with them come before you shortly. Subdivision improvement agreement, basically saying what their requirements are to finish all the improvements and what the bonds are going to be. And so that'll be moving forward too. Shortly thereafter, I think about somewhere in probably the second half of April, after Easter time, ARCO will be breaking ground as well. So I know everyone's kind of been waiting for that. I mean, the corner already looks better by having the pigeon's nest down. And, and I think, there's less pigeons today than there were, earlier, but we haven't completely resolved that issue, but we are still working with the company that live traps and relocates the pigeons. So, in case someone thought, Casey was out there with a 22 or something.
I volunteered.
We had a lot of volunteers, so.
Well, don't be surprised, because pigeons are smart. They'll wait.
They come back.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
They'll wait till that project is finished.
Yeah. And then just one last thing. Unfortunately, Allie wasn't able to make it tonight, so she just wanted to let you know that volleyball, adult volleyball, is going on, and they're about halfway through the season. We're looking to bring back Kaju Kempo, which is a martial arts that's taught here in town, sponsored by the city. That should be coming back here shortly. The Family Resource Center and Promotores is a community dance group, and they're bringing dance therapy, yoga, and art classes to Pioneer Park. These occur, it said today through Friday. I'm not sure what that means. Probably Monday through Friday, because Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays, 8 to 9 in the morning, and yoga from 8 to 9:30 on Wednesdays, and art classes on Fridays at 3 p.m. for the youth. And again, they're working on Farmers Market. They have about 41 booths that are already committed to coming in, and we still got a good month to go to try to get some more. And I know Allie and Miss Susan are really working hard to bring more booths into that. So with that, I can answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. And welcome back to the chamber. Or welcome new ones as well.
Chief Richardson?
Evening, Mayor, council members. It's good to be back in person. Just a quick reminder that this Saturday is our crab feed, or for the Canine Association. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, you better hurry up and do so. I know there's a few left, but it's approaching fast. So with that, I would happy to answer any questions you'd have of me.
None? Thank you. Lou?
Evening. Just really briefly, our web payment server, which over half of our city uses, is going to be down starting Wednesday at noon, and it's going to be back up and running on Monday at noon. It's going down because we're going to be upgrading our server and our server software, and it needs to come down for that time. But other than that, happy to answer any questions you have.
No questions? Thank you, Lou. Catherine?
Thank you, Mayor. Just have a couple updates. The project, the SB1 project on Kern that you awarded will be starting construction in the next couple of weeks. We've had a pre-construction meeting. We're getting the contracts and all documentation in place. There will be pretty active construction out there, so we'll be doing some traffic control, and I'll be sending notices out so everybody can try to avoid that area. The Highway 33 and Inyo project, we expect to start. We've already awarded that. We're waiting on some stuff Caltrans needs. So we expect to start that construction at the end of April. The contractor's already on board, and we've already got all the agreements in place. The final report is the pavement management system that we are doing in coordination with Stancog. They're surveying Newman right now and all the cities, but I think they're in Newman this week, possibly next week as well. And they're grading our streets within the city limits. Every street will get a grade from very poor to very good. And that will be our pavement management index. And that number and that information and that plan will be used to present projects for you to use for Measure L money or other transportation projects and other types of funding. So we expect that to be complete in the summer. And so then we'll be shortly bringing you some more transportation project based on the needs of the road conditions. And I can take any questions.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
Chief Bone?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We're currently in our off-peak, so we've had a reduction in our call volume. We expect that to pick up here once spring break comes around and the weather starts heating up, which is projected to get warmer later this week, so prepare now. During our off-peak, we were catching up on training and working on maintenance of the vehicles and all that for the fire season. And then we're also working on inspections. So we got all the school inspections done. We're working on Main Street right now, so local businesses will probably see us walking around and checking out buildings just to keep the community safe. Also just want to remind everyone, we have the flag retirement mailbox. We've almost narrowed down the location. Once we get that installed, then you can drop your flag, use flags off anytime you want. Until then, feel free to stop by the fire station Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and just hand it to one of the firefighters, and we'll take care of it for now. And hopefully we can have that box installed by the end of the month. So I can answer any questions anyone might have.
Any questions? I like the flag retirement box because a lot of people don't know what to do with their old tattered flags when they replace them.
Yeah, we've already
There's a
gotten a lot
process.
of customers just talking about it, so it's awesome.
Neat. Thank you. Councilman Ball?
Hey, I'm going to put my other hat on for a moment. Occupational Olympics were held last week. This is my 5th and final year teaching at Oristema High School. And Heidi Lopez, I always have trouble with this name, Arparicio, is the first student that I've had place in Occupational Olympics. Of about 25 students, she took 2nd place in investigations and crime report writing at the Occupational Olympics, and very, very proud of her. It had nothing to do with me. I handed her a packet and I said, study, and she showed up and she kicked butt. So Heidi Lopez, congratulations. Very proud for her and for our high school and our district. So that's all I have tonight.
Nice. Councilman McDonald?
Couple things. I attended a meeting in the city of Patterson, and it has to do with the homeless center. That is a beautiful place, inspiring. They've got a lot of things that they accomplished and has been done. That if you get a chance to go over to their center and take a tour, it's a beautiful place, and I think it's great for the West Side. I had a chance to talk with the Secretary of State, the young lady in which me and Gavin Newsom we're not really close, but we've been in company a lot. And I was before I moved to the Valley, he ran for the mayor of San Francisco, and I was one of his steering committee members. And so she was able to take pictures back. And she had mentioned to me, and I wanted to make sure that the city know about this, is that she's going to try to get her and some of the maybe 1 or 2 elected officials come down and visit Newman. And I told her, let me know if they're not here, just call up Mike Harlan. I gave them your name. So if the governor happened to come through and or his people, and I'm not here in town, please treat them with royalty, and saying that hope things go well with their project. Another thing is that, when you reach the age of 70, sometimes your mind just, have a nice evening, council members.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Oh, please.
Thank you, Councilman. Pro Tem?
Well, since we're finally back in face-to-face session, this is my last meeting. So a couple of years ago, my wife and I bought a house up in Idaho, and then about 1.5 years ago, I was forced into retirement, and so we decided to go ahead and sell a house down here, and I've been going back and forth between here and Newman, and it's now that we're back in full sessions all the time, I can't be here every Tuesday. So, and besides, technically, even though I had an address here in Newman all the time, I don't have it anymore, so. Been all nice knowing you, and I'm
Well, Nick, thank you for your service. Thank you for your long tenure here. We greatly appreciate it. You're going to be missed. Your expertise in this is going to be good. And enjoy Idaho. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Have some baked potatoes.
fishing and hunting.
I know.
Fishing and hunting.
I got my eye on it.
You got Santanella.
I'm looking for property up there.
I have nothing for tonight. No, I got all my answers, questions answered, so.
Well, all I have is, again, Nick, thank you for your service to the community and your long tenure here. You know, I've learned a lot from you over the years, and you're going to be missed as part of the team. And I'd like to say hi to Bob Martina, the mayor. He's in the audience today, and thank everybody for participating tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming in and being here. So with that, we're going to adjourn to closed session. Item A, conference with real property negotiator, Stanislaus County, APN 049-053-026. GC 54956.8, agency negotiator Michael Holland, negotiating parties City of Newman and Dunkley/Lucas Holdings under negotiation, price and terms and payment. And then item B, return to open session. So with that, we'll move to closed session, and we'll be moving out of this room to the conference room. Thank you, everybody.